G'day everyone. So as the title suggests, this video is going to be all about the drawing environment here in Autodesk Inventor. Now the drawing environment, of course, the idea being that we create technical drawings of the objects that we've produced so that we can then add those or use those to manufacture parts. Now specifically what we'll be looking at today is doing this drawing here, which is for the bushing shackle out of Practice Parts B. We're going to go through and I'll show you how we put in the different views, put in dimensions, alter our title block and those sorts of things. So to start with, from your home page, looking something like this on your computer, what you'll need to do is start by selecting either drawing from the new panel here, or up here from the little new icon, the little drop down, drawing there. So either or. And this is what you'll come up to first up. Now, a lot of things do look similar. We have our tabs up the top here. We've got place views, annotate, sketch, etc. all along the top here with their associated ribbons. And we have our browser down the left-hand side. Now, we're going to be working in mainly annotate and place views today, and from the browser as well as on this actual drawing sheet itself. We call them drawing sheets because within a drawing file here on Autodesk Inventor we can have multiple sheets. So if we had a very complex item and we need to put in multiple sheets for its drawing, we can actually do that. So to start off with, I'm looking at this sheet here and it actually looks quite large. Now I don't specifically know the size, although if I do zoom in here onto the title block, we can say that it says size D. Now D is a standard sizing method or a standard size that's used sometimes, but in our case, we want to work from something that we would normally use, so something like A3, A4. Now in order to change that on this particular drawing sheet, we've got to right click on the sheet itself and go down to edit sheet. And we'll do this whenever we start a new document. So we come into the sheet here, we can change the name of the sheet here or the revision of it. We're going to change the size at this point to A3. And you can see here we also have the orientation. So we're going for a landscape drawing here with our title block down in the bottom right. So that's all selected there. Click OK, and this should change everything. And we also notice in that change that our title block there has gotten much bigger. So it says A3 here in the size now, but it's much bigger than we probably want it to be. So we can adjust that by underneath our sheet here. So this shows our sheet, and we've got our border and our title block in it so far. If we want a smaller title block, we can delete the one we've got, like that. You can see it's disappeared now. Go into Drawing Resources here, so I'll hit that little plus. And I've got a little folder called title blocks, and if I unpack that folder you'll see we've got ANSI large and ANSI A. Now if we use ANSI A instead, so I just double clicked on it there, that will appear down here in the bottom right, and it's a bit smaller, which is more suited to what we'll be using. We can of course alter these title blocks completely in their look. In this course we won't do that, we'll just go with the standard one that's in there. Our default border is also perfectly fine. As you can see here, in the borders that come with Autodesk Inventor, we only have the default border. So we're going to stick to the default border in our drawing, just there. And we're now at the point where we can start putting in the views into our drawing. Specifically, we're looking at orthographic projection and isometric within this drawing that we're doing here. So I'm going to start by, up from my ribbon here, or this is our Create palette within our Place Views ribbon. We're going to start by selecting our base view for the object. You can see that when I hover over it, it talks about creates the first view in a new drawing. So we'll select that one there. We're going to call it view 1, although we could alter this if we wanted to. We need to select the object we're going to use. So I'm going to open an existing file now. You can see it's taking me straight to my parts folder in my case, and I'm going to select the bushing shackle. You get the little demo view down there. We'll click open. Now straight away it's showing me which view is being selected. So over here, this is our first view. It's a scale of 1 to 1, and it's showing me the end view. And that's not particularly the first one I'd like to place, because I'm going to place the one in the bottom right here. Sorry, bottom left here. So I'm going to need to change that. So if I click this little arrow on my navi block, you can see that it takes me to one of the other views. This is the side view that I'd like to start with as my front view on my drawing. So I'm going to start with that one there. So if I move that one into the position I'd like it to be, we can place that one on our drawing sheet. And if we're happy with that, we click OK. And that places that first view, and you can see there it's also pulled in some dimensions for us, which we'll talk about soon. From this first view, we now need to start putting in some of the projected views. So that's things like the top view and the end view of this one. To do that, we come back up to our Place Views palette, we hit our Projected View button, we select our original sketch, which is our original drawing view that we've got, and then we drag out from that. You can see now that I've put in 2 more views there, and I might even put in my isometric at the same time, just like that. You can see it's put in the squares around them. Now, in order to actually get them to appear, I need to right-click and click Create. And that'll go ahead and add those in. As you can see, they don't have any dimensions yet, and that's fine. We're going to look at how to add those in now. So coming back up to our ribbon up here and our tabs, we need to click on the Annotate tab now. And I'll just quickly talk about the browser for a sec here. You can see that it started adding in the different views that I've put in here. So as I go over there, it shows me which views are which. So I've got my initial view 1, my view 2, view 3, and finally the isometric underneath there. That gives me all the information about what I've placed. Now, back to putting dimensions on. We've got a couple of different methods of putting dimensions on objects. We can use the dimension tool like we would in drawing a normal sketch and select the specific part that we want to give a dimension to, something like this here. Alright, and we can give that its dimension. And it'll pop up with this box here when you do go to add any dimension, if you're just adding it in. And you can change things like the tolerances or the precision. In our case, we want the precision to be down to 0, which means that it's only showing us the millimeters that we've typed in, so that hole is 20 millimeters in diameter. From here, we can also, obviously, as I said, we can add all our dimensions in individually like that, or we can actually retrieve them for that specific view from our original sketch that we created. To do that, we'll select the Retrieve Dimensions button here, select the view that we wish to retrieve them for, and then we'll select the features. So I'm selecting all those parts there. You can see there automatically it's chucked up all the possible dimensions that I can have. From here I need to select the dimensions that I want. So I click the Select Dimensions button and I'm going to select the ones I want. I don't want this one because I'm going to add that one onto the bottom item here. I would like the position of my hole, definitely. I would also like to show the chamfer here, so I'm selecting those 2 10mm marks there. I'd like the width of it. I'd like the center point of this arc of that slot there, so I'll click that one as well. And I'd like the width of that part of my object also. So I'm selecting all those different dimensions there. When I'm happy that those are the ones I want, I need to hit Apply. And that'll add them all in. Now I can keep going and retrieving dimensions for other parts of my drawings as well. As you can see there, and I'm just, for this one here, I'm not going to add many, and I'm just adding in my length there. I'll hit Apply, so that's another one, and we'll select this last view here. Select that object, and it's probably not giving me many dimensions at all, and realistically, I can probably get away with not adding dimensions from onto this view specifically. However, I might try and add some in the manual way later, so we'll hit cancel for now on that one. Alright, so that's all my possible dimensions put on there for now. Now all I need to do is start spacing these out appropriately. So on my top view here, I'm going to drag and drop, and as you can see, it does bring up some guidelines as I go and changes the way my lines look. And what I'm after is that dotted line, both with the center line with the dimension and where the dimension goes to. I can right click on this and I can change my precision as well back to 0, and I'll need to do this to all those dimensions. So very quickly I'm just going to go through that on each of them, start with just centralizing them, right, so that they look neat and tidy, changing the precision on them as well as I go. Alright, just going to do these last few down here. Start with the precision first, then I'll adjust how they look. There we go. Okay, now 20 there. There we go, it's looking a bit neater now. And my end dimension here. One last time, precision. And positioning. There we go. So all those dimensions look quite nicely spaced out now and accurate. Some things I can do in here, because some spots, perhaps the center point of this circle here, I might like to actually add a center point in, so I can click on the center point tool here, the center mark tool, and select the item that I want to center mark for, and we'll add that in for me. I'm going to do that for my circles in all those locations, so it makes my dimensioning clearer. Alright, down the bottom here you can obviously see that some of the dimensions are in quite tight placement, so I need to move those to more appropriate positions. Alright, so I'll go ahead and do that all over this drawing to make it look a lot neater. So again, using my position of 0, I'm going to go ahead and change all of these. Now, I won't do all of them in video here because it would take a lot of time, and we don't have a lot of time to go through that. So, as you can see there, I've added in a lot of different dimensions. Now, when you're normally working on your drawing, you'll need to add in as many as you think are appropriate to build the specific item. The last thing we need to do is look at our title block there and give all the information we need. To do this, we're going to come up to the browser here and click on the name here, and we'll right click and then iProperties. Now iProperties allows us to change things about this specific drawing that we're doing at the moment. We can add a title onto it, so in this case it will be bushing shackle, so that's what it is. The subject is less necessary here, so I'm not going to add that in. The author is of course myself, so Simon Ellison. Company will be Brighton Secondary School. Alright, so that's some of the information I need. We can click on these other tabs to add in more. Revision number, we don't really need that one in. We can, or actually let's add that in. So let's add a revision number of 1, because that's going to fill up that hole. A drawing number of 1, if we can find the box for that. Kind of hard to find, as you can see here. Sometimes it's easy to find them, sometimes it's not. Alright, I'm not going to worry about the checked, quality assurance, the manufacturer, or the approved box here. So right now, at the moment, I'd be changing the drawn box, changing this box here for company, changing the title, and I haven't been able to change the drawing number, I don't believe. And that's fine. So we'll click apply and close, and all of a sudden we've got some more information in the title block down here, which is suitable to the item. Alright, so that's what we're aiming for, all dimensioned, our title block fully filled out, and we have our 3 orthographic views. Preferably I would also like you to add in the text underneath these for what they are. So we can use the text box and we'll type in, that one is front. You can see it's added that in for me. This one is top. Okay, and my last one is my end view. And I'll just click OK there as well. So I can see that's all added in. If I want to move those into a more appropriate position, all I need to do is grab hold of them and shift them around. Right, until I'm happy with their position. Sometimes this can be quite tricky if they're small text like mine is. You can increase the size of this text, of course, in that text dialog box that we were in before. So for example, if we wanted to make this bigger, just double click on it, it'll pop back up, we highlight the text we want to make bigger, and change it to a more appropriate size, and that will change it on our drawing. Alright, thanks for watching this, I hope this helps you with your drawings.